Hello and welcome to Boston. This video was originally going to start with hello and welcome to the TPT conference, but I did a really horrible job filming the TPT conference due to some scheduling stuff. I was only at the conference for one day, so we got here like 10 o'clock at night on Wednesday night. Thursday got up, went to like networking breakfast, which by the way is like my worst nightmare, but I conquered it and it was fine. And then came back to the room, skipped the first session so that I could kind of like get myself ready. And then the second session of the day was mine. So I presented, I think it went really well, actually. I'm pretty proud of myself. Even husband said it went pretty well. There was a typo in my slides, but it's fine. And so conquered that. Went to lunch with Kayla, my Facebook ads manager. It was great. We went to Legal Seafood and it was fabulous. Like every single thing we ate was amazing. Came back, did another session, did closing remarks, and then husband and I just went shopping and went to dinner at Davio's, which was fantastic. Super expensive, but fantastic. It was, again, like every single thing was absolutely amazing. And just came back and hung out and watched TV, and I proofed one of my videos because I'm trying a video editor this week. So just, you know, all the things. Right now we're about to head out and we're going to the aquarium today, and then we are hoping to catch a harbor cruise. So we will see how that goes. We started our journey around Boston with a journey to Starbucks, which was in the hotel, and then a walk through the park that was right across the street. This is the statue of Edgar Allan Poe, by the way, because he was in Boston for quite a while. And we actually got Old Town trolley tour tickets for the 2 days that we were sightseeing. This was really handy because it took you pretty much all like the big sightseeing places and also gave you lots of information and background on what was going on. So there were some things that like we didn't get to see, but we at least got to go past them and they talked about them. Not a quick way to get around, but it was an interesting way to get around. We started at the New England Aquarium, which was really great. It was definitely not as big as the Georgia Aquarium, but it was fun anyway. They had 2 big penguin areas, so they had different kinds of penguins, and fun fact, penguins are probably my favorite animal. They used to definitely be my favorite animal. Recently, koalas have come pretty close, but I think penguins are still my favorite. I could have sat there all day long, not even kidding. But we did leave eventually and saw the sea lions, which were so fun. They were just playing and hopping around and swimming. One of them wasn't quite as into it as the others. That one was new to the aquarium, so he was kind of like hanging back a little bit, but they were just so fun to watch and very fast. I was not expecting them to be quite that fast. But yeah, really great time over here at the aquarium. When we finished up with the aquarium, we hopped on a Boston Harbor City cruise. This was fun because you had a very different view of the city because you're on a boat, and they still had like a tour guide on there talking about different things. For example, the landscape of Boston is completely different than it used to be because they keep doing landfill projects and taking the coastline out. So like pretty much all of you that you see from the coastline of Boston now used to be ocean, which is crazy. The entire airport is built on like a landfill, like they filled it with land. It used to be ocean. I cannot like wrap my head around that. So if you see maps of like where everything was in revolutionary times, they were a lot closer to the ocean than they are now because they keep like moving the ocean further away. Boggles my mind. Anyway, we walked back through the park on the way back to the hotel, and that night we stopped at a little pub that was just next to the hotel. I got clam chowder and we DoorDashed Mike's Pastries. It was like a little bit further than we wanted to walk, but we really wanted some cannolis because I really want to make sure we ate like cannolis, lobster rolls, and clam chowder. Those were my three that I was like, we have to have. Oh, and Boston cream pie. So we DoorDashed a huge box of Mike's Pastries. They were fantastic. I don't think I've ever had a cannoli before this trip. Highly recommend. The next day we started on a walking tour. So this is the Freedom Trail walking tour. The Freedom Trail is basically a trail that hits a lot of the Revolutionary War like monuments and cemeteries and like big important buildings and stuff like that. And we did a guided tour, which I highly recommend because again, they can just tell you all of these interesting things. Stopped for lunch at Ye Old Union Oyster House, which is the longest running restaurant, I think is what they said. Had some lobster rolls, had some crab cakes, had a great time, and then headed to the Boston Tea Party Museum. This was not what I was expecting. It was so interactive. It was hilarious. You go to the pretend Old South meeting house and have this meeting with the people who are, you know, all dressed up, and then you go down to the ship and they tell you about, you know, the ship and how we do things, and then you throw the boxes of tea into the ocean. I was expecting actual tea, but it was not actual tea. It was like a box that you threw and then it was on a rope, so you like pulled it back up. But it was really, really fun and definitely recommend. And then headed out to dinner. All right, and that's the end of our Boston trip. Didn't talk to you much, but I'll overlay things that we talked about. It is Saturday night, about 9 o'clock. We just got back from dinner. We went to Navio's again because it was so good the first time. We're like, you know what, let's just go back. And it was amazing the second time too. Did get different things, but it was still really good. It's like 9 o'clock. We're gonna pack up. Yesterday we ordered some pastries from Mike's Pastries on DoorDash because it was like too far. We didn't want to walk. So we have some of those left over. We're just gonna like hang out. Well, we're gonna pack and then like eat those and watch TV and just kind of chill. And then we leave bright and early tomorrow morning to head back home. Thankfully we got a one flight instead of connecting flight, so that's really nice. As far as like thoughts, everything I've eaten has been fantastic. I did hit up lobster rolls, cannolis, clam chowder, and I have a piece of Boston cream pie in the fridge. So those were all the things that I wanted to eat in Boston. They were all fabulous. As far as like our favorite things, I think we agreed that our favorite part was the Freedom Tour, walking tour that we did with the tour guide. He was great. I don't know what his name was because he went by like a character name, but he was so good and it was really good, really informative, and just so interesting. So that's probably our favorite. I think my number 2 is the aquarium. His number 2 is the Boston Tea Party Museum, which was really super fun. Way better than I was expecting. It was like really interactive and great. It's just a good time. So come to Boston, hang out. Also, I heard on one of our tours today that it said that this hotel, the Plaza Park Hotel, is apparently where they have the president when the president comes to stay in Boston. I don't think he's staying in our room because it was not that impressive, but you know, it is what it is. I mean, it's been a good experience overall, but the rooms are laid out really oddly in this hotel. Everyone's kind of agreed from the TPT comments. It's been a great time, lots of tours, lots of fun. So yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. I'm gonna go and I'll see you next time. We don't have any travels planned for a while, so we'll see what pops up. I'm crossing my fingers for a Disney trip in October, but we shall see.